Just been talking about you. Can you say hello?
Hey, how you doing? What's your name?
Elliot Morton.
Elliot, how you doing? What position do you play in baseball?
What position you play in baseball?
I'm doing great.
You've been throwing a lot, haven't you?
Yeah.
Fred's a pitcher too.
I'm a pitcher, yeah.
What's your pitching tip for Fred? How'd you throw your ball? Put your arm out.
Yeah.
You follow through, don't you?
Yeah.
Awesome. When's your next game
I don't know.
or next training?
Wednesday night.
I don't know.
You go on Wednesday, don't you?
Yeah.
Wednesday, awesome. We're playing Wednesday night as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck in your game, man.
Say night night.
No.
Okay. You're listening to the British Baseball Podcast. So normally I start off the questions with asking the guest about themselves and about how they got interested in baseball. But before we do that, we've got to go straight into a listener's question because J-Rod, Jonathan Rodriguez, the GB coach, has said it's tradition to have a joke told to break the tension and as an icebreaker. So I've got some jokes.
Okay.
I hope you got some jokes. Let's have a little joke off. So Fred, throw down some. I might even put the explicit rating on this. So if you've got to tell a dirty joke, then let us know in advance so we can get
keep them clean. Usually they're pretty clean, and because you got to remember, like I was like 15 when I started bringing jokes to the NBL team.
Yeah.
So like most of them were pretty chill. I wrote one down because I saw that J-Rod wanted me to do one. So here we go. What happens when a frog parks illegally?
I don't know.
It gets towed.
Oh man, that's awful. And I'm writing that one down. So why didn't Han Solo enjoy steak dinner?
Oh, is this something about Chewie?
Yeah, it was Chewie.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. What do you call a cow with no legs?
Go on.
Ground beef.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Right. I've got two. So you can pick one. It's either about pirates or Snoop Dogg.
Oh, definitely the Snoop one. What's
Snoop's favorite weather?
I don't know.
Drizzle.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's it for the bad jokes.
Okay, I like it.
I promise. Unless people like it and we might become a regular feature with a guest, who knows? But feel free to use any of those. You can have them for yourself. So Fred, thanks for coming onto the show and agreeing to be part of the British Baseball Podcast. Very excited to have this interview. And so do you want to start us off with, for those that may not know who you are or didn't see the Euros over last summer, who are you and how did you get interested in baseball?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me, Matthew, first of all. Very happy to be on the show. I've heard a lot of the podcasts. I listened to Paul's one again for like the third time yesterday to just kind of get in the right mindset, I guess.
He's a great guest.
Yeah, he's the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a pitcher now. I still do play for the London Mets when I go back in the summers. I'm a junior in college at Middlebury College in Vermont. I'm on the baseball team there as a pitcher. I've been lucky enough to play for the British national team since 2014. 2014, I played on the cadets, the U16 team. We went to Florida. That was my first GB tournament. Played all the way through U18s, U23s, and I got to play on the senior national team this past August. That was an incredible experience. I got my senior team debut in our first game against France. Yeah, so I've been playing baseball for a long time, since I was like 3 years old. I learned how to play baseball in Moscow in Russia.
Wow.
Yeah, I played T-ball. I went to an American school there, and there was a T-ball league in the summers. and my dad was my first coach. I played on the Cubs. That was our first team. We got like the Cubs hat and jerseys and everything. It was pretty cool. And then I kept playing, loved the game, and then finally found a team to play with in Moscow. Played more regularly than just t-ball in the summers. And then when I moved to London, I begged my mom to like find me a team, and she Googled a bunch of different teams, and she emailed the London Mets. Pietro Solecito wrote back to her, and then it was January 31st of 2013. I had my first London Mets practice at Stoke Newington School, and that's where baseball began for me in London.
That's cool. Who are some of the first people you met then from the Mets?
Yeah, so Pietro was the only coach that day. He was the first coach I met there, and then Matteo was there as well. And I remember the first practice, he was goofing around as usual. It got to Pietro, and Pietro made everybody run laps, and I was like, okay, well, this is a good first practice. We were running a lot because of Matteo's antics. Kind of nothing's changed since then, I guess. Yeah, and then this next week, we had Liam Carroll and Eric Hansen at the practice, and those were two other coaches that have been pretty impactful on my baseball time, or my time playing baseball. And I didn't really realize that definitely at the second practice, but they were there.
So what was it about Liam and Eric then? You said they were quite impactful coaches. What was it that they brought to the table that made you?
Yeah, Eric was my coach all the way until like, I think I was 17 or 18. So coached for Little League and Junior League, and then was my first NBL coach too. And he just like kind of reinstilled my I guess the love for the game. Like I just had so much fun playing for him. He taught us how to have more fun in games. Like never was too serious. He taught us how to get hit by pitches all the time. Like we'd have practices where he'd like throw tennis balls at us, so we would know how to get hit by pitches. And that was huge that year. We were hit all the time. His daughter Ella Hansen was kind of led the team in hit by pitches, which was awesome. There was one game in Poland. I think it was a semifinal. Laura was pitching, Laura Hirai, against the Italian team. And the Italians always had a really good team, and we didn't really expect to win. Just went out there and played. And he got us. He had some eye black, and he drew mustaches on all of us, and that really like kind of like chilled us out. And we just went out and had a lot of fun with silly Mario mustaches on us.
Really?
And we beat the Italian team, which was awesome. Laura pitched a gem, struck out like every dude. It was awesome. So yeah, stuff like that. He just like was a great coach, and I just always had fun playing for him. Haven't seen him lately, but I remember there was one NBL game. I think it was at Hearts, and I didn't expect to see him. He hadn't been a coach there for like a couple seasons, and I ran into him. I was like, no way! This is a really good reunion. Great to see him. But yeah, Eric was a great coach, and I just had so much fun playing for him. Pietro was super impactful. He taught me how to like pitch. I always played infield, and then was a catcher. But on those little league teams, everybody needs to like pitch at some point because we're playing in tournaments, and not everybody can, or everybody needs to pitch at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, he taught me how to pitch and gave me the basics and taught me the mentality of a pitcher and stuff like that. Really helped me as a catcher. I got to see him this summer, and we were teammates again in Bulgaria. I got to see him pitch, which was great. And then Liam, I had so many hitting sessions with Liam. He's a great coach. He knows so much about the game, and he broke down my swing a million times and had so many complex drills to to do, and I just learned a lot, mainly from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I did the Smart Performance Academy training the other year, and Liam's hitting program was in it, and it was like game changing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a serious program, and I honestly I didn't play for him. There's that like that second practice ever in London that I saw him, and I'd always seen him at practices, and he'd always led practices, but I'd never played for him until my first U23 tournament in Slovakia, and that was awesome because I'd always wanted to play for a Liam Carroll team.
Yeah. What made you want to play for Liam Carroll team? What was different about his teams?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it was because of that first practice I met him. Like I was just taking swings off the tee, and before I came to London, it was just always like repetitions. All practices were only like take a million swings off the tee and you'll get better. When he, put the ball up on the tee, he's like, do this, focus on this. I was like, I mean, okay, sure.
So quite a hands-on approach.
Yeah. I was like, this guy knows a lot about baseball. I'm going to learn a lot from him. I'd love to play for him one day.
It's another question I'm going to merge into one, because Matt Moran, one of your old teammates, also asked, tell us about your favorite moments you've been traveling with the Mets, GB, and now with college. So I want to tie that in with my question as well. As can you talk about some of your favorite memories of playing baseball in Britain?
Probably my favorite memory, definitely as a London Met, was my NBL debut. So Eric was the head coach for the NBL team, and I played for him for years. But I got to the field like really early. He made us all get there way before BP, which was a different vibe. Just everything was different to the junior leagues that I played for Eric before. And the biggest thing was that everybody was an adult. Like they were all men. There were wives and girlfriends coming to games, and I'd never seen that. Like, where's everybody's mom? And I was just kind of like, I felt like I was out of place. There were all these big men there playing baseball. But Martin Tucker was definitely like an impactful teammate I'd had. But the first day he got me. He said, "Fred, I need you to go find the key to the batter's box," while everybody was taking BP. And I was like, okay, I don't even know what that is, but I was just running around Finsbury Park looking for the key to the batter's box. And I came back to him and was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I have no idea where it is. I couldn't find it. So a bunch of jokes were played on me as like the rookie, which was funny. And I started game 2 of the doubleheader. We played Southampton. I was catching Dan Weigel, who was our import at the time, and he'd been living with me for the season, so I knew Dan very well, but never really got to catch him. So that was awesome. I think it was batting 9th, and my first at bat, I came in. I was like so nervous, squeezing the bat really tight. I just totally out of focus, and I just knew I had to swing at the first pitch. And I hit a single down the third base line, and that was awesome. Eric got the ball, and I felt like this was all official. This was all like so cool, like what I see on TV and whatnot. Yeah, I think that was my favorite London Mets moment. My favorite GB moment probably was when we beat the Dutch in 2019 in Prague.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I'm going to say is Paul Kirkpatrick pitched a great game. And I was really happy to be his catcher. That was just like the best game of baseball we played. We did everything right, no errors, situational hitting. Paul was just spectacular on the mound and shut them down really. And then a college moment definitely was this past season. We won our conference, which was a goal we set out to achieve at the beginning of the year. We've been like the best team in our conference all season. Got the number 1 seed for the championship, and then we didn't play the best the first 3 games of the tournament, and then we played a school called Hamilton, who are a really good team. They don't strike out very much. They're really like gritty and scrappy. And we were leading for most of the game. Then they put up a 5 spot, I think. but we were down by 3. It was 8-5 in the top of the ninth. And we were down to our last strike, and our team put up a 5 spot, and then George, our closer, shut it down, and then and we won, which was pretty spectacular. Yeah, when we were down to our last strike, I was fully like, oh, we're not going to win this. This is terrible. But we did, and it was great. It was like what I wanted to do for the past 4 years, and we finally did it. It was a good group of guys, and we're going to go back and do it again next year. But that was a lot of fun. That was definitely like favorite moment of college baseball.
That's cool. Awesome. You mentioned before as well that you used to be catcher. How come you've changed from catcher now to predominantly pitching, or do you still catch every now and then?
No, I don't catch at all. So I went to college my freshman year. I was a catcher that whole first season. I didn't play very much. I was mainly the bullpen catcher. Learned a lot through catching, all those bullpens. Got a lot better. Kind of like hitting was the weakest part of my game. I only had 5 at bats that year. I did okay in those 5 at bats, but they were kind of in games when we were up by 15 or so already. Yeah. So it's actually funny. The last practice of that year, my freshman year, we were doing like a simulated game, and I was just hanging out in the bullpen like usual. And our pitching coach was like, "Fred, do you want to just throw a bullpen? And you've caught a million of them this year. Do you want to just do it for fun? This is our last practice." It's like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And I did. And I tried to throw the ball as hard as I could, obviously, and then I threw a curveball, and it was okay. And then he convinced our head coach to later that practice let me face some batters, and I did okay. I struck the first guy out, got a ground ball, and then the last guy, a guy called Alan Guild, just hit the crap out of a ball. I was like, okay, well, I'm humbled. And then I played a bit. I played that summer with GB. I caught what really well, but I just couldn't swing it. I couldn't hit the ball. So I came back my sophomore year, and our coach was like, "Do you want to pitch?" I was like, "Will I play more if I pitch?" And he said, "Yeah." So I was like, "Yep, I'll be a pitcher now. Whatever I can do to play more."
Is it a hard decision to make?
No, not really. Like, I'd be happy playing any position as long as I kind of like would be in a position to play and contribute to the team.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, I pitched a little bit in Little League, and every once in a while here and there, but never like been a pitcher only. But now I love it because hitting's really hard, and being a pitcher is really chill. You can just hang out in the bullpen for most of the day. Like I'm not a starting pitcher. I'm a reliever this year. Practices are chill. You just got to throw and then go lift and do what you need to do. So yeah, I love it. I've gotten a lot better.
Cool. So what does a typical practice look like for you?
In the season, we'll practice like 6 days a week. It'll alternate every other day, like a high intent throwing day and a low intent throwing day. And sometimes we'll face batters on those high intent days. So we'll show up like 30, 40 minutes before practice, do like soft tissue work and stuff like mobility, stuff like that. And then we'll get stretched as like position players, and then pitchers will stretch on their own, do their own things, kind of like very separate practices. It's one practice, but they're separated between the two. And then we'll do our like normal warm-up routine, a little bit of running and all that stuff. And then we'll have like 20, 30 minutes to do our pre-throwing routine, like bands, plyo balls, stuff like that. And then we'll do the throwing we need to do. And then while that's going on, the hitters are hitting. And then when the hitters go onto the turf to do like infield, outfield stuff, we'll go join them for a bit, do some pickoff moves, do some situational defense. And then some guys will throw bullpen, some guys won't. It'll be on like some rotation like that. And then I'll do my post-throwing routine, which is a bit longer if it's a light day, and a bit shorter if it's like a higher intent day. And then sometimes I'll go lift, or it'll be the next day that I lift. And it'll be stuff like that, but usually like a bullpen or a long toss twice a week. And then kind of recovery days mixed in with those, which are nice and light, kind of just keep the arm moving, let it recover.
Nice. I'd like to talk a bit more about your GB time, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
When did you find out you were eligible for GB, and what was your call up like? Do you remember getting the call or the letter or email?
It was my fall ball coach at Finsbury Park for the Mets. He told me that I should go and like try out for the GB team, and the tryout was at Milton Keynes when they did all the academies there. And that was 2013, the winter of 2013, I think. We did the tryouts for U16 for the cadets, and Rob Rance was the head coach, and he just sent there were like a bunch of different emails like, you've made this new round or this cut or whatever, and I was like super nervous about it all. But I remember getting an email saying like, you've made the team, congratulations, like in April or something of 2014. And then Mateo and Laura, who I'd played with for many years, both made the team too. So we were really excited that we're all going to get to play together. We played 2 tournaments that year with the London Mets already, so we were kind of like really good friends at that point and knew how to play baseball with each other. And then we went to Florida, and we played in the USSSA gold medal games, and we got smacked around pretty badly. I think we were really excited to only lose 3-0 to Puerto Rico in the last game. But that was a lot of fun. That was my first GB tournament. I hit a double. I think that was my only hit, and I was really excited about that because the inning before I made an error where I just let a ground ball right through my legs. So that was really embarrassing. That was like my first play as a GB player. It's a ground ball right through my legs. But yeah, that was a really fun tournament. That was 2014. That was U16.
In 2016, I cash you back a bit.
Yeah.
You won a championship belt for the GB way.
Oh yeah.
If anyone hasn't seen this, it's a WWE style spinner belt that John Cena used to have, and you won that for the GB way. What did you do then that earned you that title?
Yeah, I think it was a practice game against France before the tournament. And I was catching. I don't remember who the pitcher was that game, but I had 2 hits, and I think I threw out a guy on a ball in the dirt. So he just ran when it was right there, I guess. But yeah, it was a practice game. We had a lot of fun. I don't think we won in that game, but it was fun. But I do remember I went to I hit my wrist on a foul ball or something like that. And I asked Lloyd, who was our trainer then. It's like, hey, like I think this is broken. I was just being soft. I was like, this really hurts. What am I gonna do? And he's like, all right, let's go to the hospital. And we were in Spain, and I couldn't speak very good Spanish. I'd done GCSE, but like I could say we go to the park to play football. I couldn't like interpret like I've got a broken wrist.
Yeah.
So Carlos Casal comes with us so he can translate. And we're sitting there for like, I think 2 hours in the waiting room, just waiting, doing nothing. And I can do the x-ray, and they come back in 5 minutes and say, yeah, it's just a bruise, man. And I was like, oh, okay. And I felt really bad going back. Like I just wasted Lloyd and Carlos's time. But I was fine, I guess. But that was kind of like the biggest memory I had from that day, I guess, rather than the belt.
That's cool.
But yeah.
And we spoke before briefly about the Euros of 2021. Can you talk about your experience and your overall experiences with in that tournament?
Yeah, that was so much fun. Yeah, I didn't think I'd make that team earlier on in the summer. I was talking to Drew, and he's like, yeah, you should probably see if you can get some time off school the first 2 weeks, because it was during the first week of school, of college. He's like, you should maybe see if you can get some time from your professors. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's just saying that. Like, I don't think I'm gonna make this team. And then I did. When we were in Bulgaria, I got the call, and I celebrated a little bit with Zach Stroman and Jordan Edmonds, who'd also been on the team. They'd made it a few weeks before. Just a lot of fun. I got to make my debut the first game. We played France. I was in the bullpen for most of it. and I got the call from the dugout to get warm. I was going in the game the next inning while I was in the toilet in the dugout. So someone from the bullpen had to run down and come get me, like knock on the door, be like, Fred, you got to get warm right now. And I was in the bathroom. So that was nerve-wracking. I think the first pitch I threw was a barrel, and he smoked the ball and hit just the top of the center field fence. It stayed in the ballpark. So that was my my welcoming to senior team play, I guess. But yeah, that was so much fun. We had so many really like incredible players on that team. A lot of like ex-pro guys, some indie league players, indie ball players. We were really a really talented team, and that was so much fun. I got 3 or 4 appearances. My favorite one was probably when I got to play a pitch against the Dutch.
Yeah.
I was shocked that I went in. Definitely when Will Wintern told me to get moving around, I was like, no way, not me. This is the Dutch. What are you doing? You're joking. And I went in, and I pitched 3 innings, which was awesome, more than I'd pitched at all earlier that season. No, that's not true. Sorry. But my longest appearance for GB, gave up 1 run to the best lineup in Europe, I guess. I got Roger Bernardina out, which was awesome because I'd seen him playing a game years before for the Nationals. Yeah, I think that's probably one of my proudest moments as a baseball player, is pitching against that lineup and doing decently well.
Yeah, it was really good. And what is it about pitching angry? I'm not told to mention pitching angry.
Oh no, who told you to mention that?
I can't divulge my sources.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that know me know I'm not a very angry or angry or negative person.
You don't come across angry or
Yeah.
negative.
But I think definitely like when I play, I try to have like a more of an aggressive mentality of like, it's just you and me and the hitter, and I'm just gonna get angry so that I throw the ball harder, or hit my spot so I can get you out. I think definitely pitching angry and more aggressively has helped me. It's a better mindset to be in.
Yeah. How do you get into that mindset?
Usually I walk the first 3 guys, and then that'll get me angry. But that's not very sustainable. So I talk to myself a lot on the mound, just like, all right, like have a quiet conversation with the hitter in my head, or say some things at him or into my glove, kind of just like getting in a little angry mood. But it definitely started, like the angry mentality, when I would hit 3 guys or load the bases when I just came in, and be like, oh no, this sucks. Like that's what would get me angry, or a blown call or something like that. So I realized, like, oh, when I pitch angry, I pitch a little bit better.
How different did you find it from playing within the 23s in the same tournament to being with the seniors? What was it? Were there any differences? Not within like the standards, but within like within the 2 different camps? Are the seniors treated any differently to the U23s? I think I'm trying to like see if you can talk about the vibe within the different camps.
Yeah. I think that the vibe is just different because like of the age. Like we're all like 18 to 20-year-olds on the U23 team, or 18 to 22-year-olds. And we've, for the most part, most of us have played together for many years, and we all know each other. I'd been on that team for many years, so I was like very comfortable with acting like myself and doing the silly things I do, like J-Rod was talking about, the shotgunning the Red Bull, or wearing a band. I felt pretty confident being on that team, and almost like a leader on that team a little bit. And I played with Crammon and Richard, for Crammon and Minford and Drew Spencer and J-Rod. I hadn't pitched pitched for Connor Brooks yet. But so that was a really cool experience. I think that was one of the biggest similarities between the two tournaments, because he was our like pitching coach or assistant pitching coach for both of those tournaments. Is like his scouting reports on all the hitters and all the pitchers for every team was incredible. I'd never seen anything like that. Like, we don't even have that at college. He had video of every single guy we'd face and broke it down, and that was big time. So that was really helpful. But yeah, I think the senior team was a little bit more serious, just because if we did well in that tournament, we could keep going and
Yeah.
I think possibly get a shot at the Olympics. Maybe no, of a World Cup, I think. But anyway, it was just like a lot of older guys and guys that had been around the game for a while, and it played at high levels. So yeah, that was the biggest difference. Like, they were just established guys that were there on business, and it was more serious than that in Spain.
So going from being, as you said, for like a leader with the under-23s into the higher levels, who did you learn the most from the players in the senior national team?
I think I learned a lot from Connor Brooks again, because I'd known him the tournament before, and we got to like get to know each other and learn more about the game and what I should do. Coach Grasser taught me a lot too. Dan Cooper I learned a lot from. My first relief appearance against France, when I was in the bathroom, and then I came back and I did my bands and my plyos and stuff like that. And he's like, after the game, obviously, he told me, he's like, you should have done all that stuff before you start throwing. Like, when you get the call to get hot, you got to be able to like throw 5 pitches and get hot. I was like, oh, okay, yes, understood. So I think I learned a lot from him. And Chamoy Christopher, he was our catcher.
Yeah.
Sorry, and I got to live with him. Like, we were roommates, and Nate Thomas as well. All 3 of us were roommates. That was a lot of fun. And when I found out Chamoy like played indie ball, it's just like, oh my God, what's that like? I just kept asking him questions about that. And he was awesome to chat to and stuff like that. Our last game against Czech, I remember I was sitting with him on the bus, and he was like, Phil Edmonds had just bought him like nail polish to paint his nails, because it was a night game, and like our pitchers wouldn't be able to see his nails or whatever. So he was painting his nails, and like this is not going to dry. This is going to be terrible. I was like, dude, it's going to be fine. Yeah, that's one good memory I have of him. But yeah, Dan Cooper I learned a lot from. Yeah.
So spending time with people like Nate and Chamoy, and talking about his indie ball experiences, how does that get you thinking about your own future within the sport?
I think it makes me want to like keep playing and understand that like I can keep playing. Like, after college, it's not only like the big leagues are getting signed or getting drafted that are possible. Like, I could go to Germany and play for a team in the Bundesliga for 5 years.
Yeah.
And on doing that, I could go to Australia or the Netherlands. Like, Paul Kirkpatrick is a perfect example of that. Excuse me. He did that, had a lot of fun, and didn't rush to go get a job after college. Just went and played baseball because he loves that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, and a bunch of guys on that team, like Ben Andrews, Greg Hendricks, a lot of those guys played in Germany and around Europe, if I'm not mistaken, and had a lot of success and had a lot of fun, playing in a new country and just playing baseball because you can and you want to and you love it.
So you see a bit of globetrotting in your future then?
Yeah. I hope so. Yeah.
Cool. Any places you'd like to play?
I'd like to play in Germany. I'm studying German at school right now, and yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Cool. Lovely. I need to also touch on something Jared mentioned as well about Union Jack pants and headband combo.
Yeah, so I had a Union Jack headband that I wore under my mask or under my helmet, like when I was hitting and catching that tournament in Prague when we beat the Dutch. Not that game was the first time I'd wore it, so I was like, oh, we did well. I might as well keep wearing it. And then at the airport for travel, we didn't really have a strict travel attire. And years before, I'd wore like a Hawaiian shirt with my friend John Hall Walsh, so that was a lot of fun. So my mom asked me, she's like, oh, you always have like some goofy outfit before you travel. What are you gonna wear this time? And I ordered a suit on Amazon for like 15 pounds. There was just a bunch of Union Jacks. It was just like a Union Jack pattern.
Oh,
And I
no.
put the jacket on and it didn't fit. So I said, all right, well, I guess I'm just gonna wear the pants. And they were pretty tight and not comfortable to sit around on a sweaty plane for a while, but I did. I got a lot of laughs. But yeah, there were some crazy pants that I don't think I've ever worn. Again, I just wear them on GB trips, and definitely I didn't wear them to the senior trip because the rookie can't show up wearing that. So yeah,
Yeah, I saw the photos of the crazy shirt night you had with the 23s.
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is like a good time.
Yeah,
So as we sort of get towards the end of the conversation, which I think is a shame because I feel like we could chat all night.
yeah.
Rory Chandler, from teammate of yours, or is still a teammate of yours, I should say, has asked how many miles per hour to your fastball is added by having a mustache. Now, we chatted about this just before we started recording, and for those who are watching us on YouTube, you don't have your mustache anymore. So I'm guessing that your velocity's dipped a bit now it's gone. But what inspired the mustache look? Was it just like a homage to Mr. Minford, or?
No, last summer in Bulgaria, everybody started growing mustaches the week before we went, and I had like a really like faint one when we were there, but I had one, and then I was like, oh, I might as well just like grow a mustache for our college season this year. So like I didn't shave it from like January 1st to halfway through this. No, probably earlier on the season. We went to Florida, our spring training trip, and I pitched a game against Bowdoin, and I gave up a bunch of runs. And then that night I shaved it all off. I was like, no, this is the reason for the runs when it's really not. But I blamed it on the mustache. Then I feel like I definitely threw harder without it. As the season went on, I was throwing harder and I had less hair on my lip.
Maybe that's why I'm going wrong then.
Yeah,
I need to get rid of all this facial growth. I might actually be half decent if we got rid of all this.
I don't know. Our closer had a big grizzly beard and he was untouchable all year. And
No,
I might grow a beard next season. I don't know.
I recommend it.
Yeah, definitely weird hairdos and facial hair are fun for baseball.
Yes, well,
Half our
I
team
do
shaved
have
our
a.
heads this year for the season. I'm in like the weird in between stage of like it's grown back, but it's not really back yet.
Brother, don't even talk about that. You see mine, take my hat off.
Yeah.
I like the reverse of Mr. T. And as we get towards the last few questions, I got one more from me. Who would
Yeah.
make your Mount Rushmore of British baseball?
Paul Kirkpatrick's number one. Yeah, he just pitched a phenomenal game against the Dutch, and he hits balls really hard. Yeah, Paul's number one. I'd say Jordan Edmonds is number two, or definitely on there. I think he's just always been the poster child for British baseball. Like growing up, it was always like Jordan Edmonds is like the first guy to do this. It's like, that's awesome. He made the senior team and went to Brooklyn. I don't know how old he was, but definitely like was the youngest guy there, I think, which was awesome. And I was super excited when he came to play for the London Mets because he'd always been on like rival teams like Southampton and stuff like that. He'd never been a teammate of his. Yeah, he's always just like a dominant player. Hits the ball well, pitches really, really well. Yeah, I mean, I put Liam up there. Then Jonathan Crammond. Yeah. I've gotten to play with him and for him on a bunch of different teams. This summer I went to like 3 different tournaments. We were in Bulgaria with the London Mets, and then Italy for 2 other tournaments with the seniors and the U23s. And him and I were the only ones that were at all 3. There were like 3 different teams, obviously, but we spent a lot of time together this summer. And we spent a lot of time together at Finsbury, and like, it's been a big part of my baseball life. So I put Jonathan Crammond up there. Yeah, I put those 4 guys on there.
It's a good list, man. Some good people. Right. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for this evening. Fred, it's been an absolute pleasure. It is tradition for the guest to get the last word on the show. So the mic is all yours, Fred. Anything you want to say or chat about before we go?
Just thank you so much, Matthew. I guess one thing I'd say is I don't know if you saw it the other day. Adley Rutschman had made his major league debut, and the announcers kind of made a point of it when he came on the field. He like stopped and looked around a little bit, like
Yeah.
really took it in, and that kind of was a cool thing to watch, and I really appreciated seeing it. Because you always see like guys making their debut and just getting on the field and swinging away or whatever. But I liked seeing that. I was just like, maybe a good message is to appreciate every moment on the field and don't take it too seriously. At the end of the day, you're playing baseball. You're choosing to do it. You have fun doing it. So keep doing it. Yeah, really appreciate every moment and don't take it too seriously. Make it as fun as you can and do that. The other day I was at I'm playing summer baseball here in Massachusetts this summer, and we went to a Norwich, Connecticut. I said Norwich before and they said that was wrong, so it isn't. The W is said apparently. And it was a former minor league stadium, and there's a proper clubhouse with couches and a TV and locker rooms, and then there was a tunnel that went into the dugout.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, this is just like in the big leagues, or this is incredible. And I took a little video and I sent it to my dad, but that really made me think of it, like really appreciate all the times you have on a baseball field, because, I had a lot of teammates that over COVID had like their baseball time was ended. They didn't get to play anymore. And they didn't expect it. So really appreciate every minute you have on the field. It's a lot of fun. Make sure it's fun. Even when you fail, have fun.
Yeah.
And say thank you to everybody, like your parents, your coaches, your teammates, the umpires too. Don't ever get mad with umpires. You're going to have a lot more opportunities to win the game than they are going to have opportunities to take the win away from you. So yeah, be grateful and appreciate it, I think. Yeah,
lovely. Great advice, that, Fred. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll chat to you soon.
Thank you for your time, Matthew.
No problem. It's all right.